Hello, and welcome to Movies We Dig, the podcast about film, antiquity, and everything in between. I'm Colin McCormick.
I'm Elijah Fleming.
And I'm Christy Vogler.
And as a special mini-series, for the next few episodes, we are going to be indulging ourselves just a bit by watching and discussing films that are just personal picks by each of the hosts. So if you follow us on Blue Sky, you may remember that a few months ago, we all shared 20 films that impacted or stayed with us. And we had a really fun time putting all of those together. And we wanted to have a chance to talk. Wait, Eli, this wasn't on your list.
No, Aliens was on my list.
It was close.
This is still fun.
It was real close. So.
Okay, because I was wondering if Aliens was on my list too, and I think I swapped it out for RoboCop. But
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was definitely in the mix. But anyways, so these films sort of this is probably the most relative to our usual focus on archaeology and classics and history and mythology and things like that. But mostly it's just a chance for us to just commiserate, talk to our friends, hang out at the end of the year, just talk about movies that we dig, independent of the sort of larger theming of the show. So today's pick, as I spoiled already, is brought to us by Lige, who chose Alien versus Predator.
You're 2004. All welcome.
Yes, I thank you personally. When you made that pick, I was literally like, yes. Honestly, this might have made our list anyways. And this is, I think, this is a perfect coda to.
It works well. Although, as I was saying, I've seen way too many movies about pyramids and aliens at this point. Like, there is too many, frankly.
It's kind of the perfect, like, tale to this series, because I wrote in my notes, like, this is the sort of encapsulation, or this is the end point of all of the movies we've been reviewing for the last, like, 3 months.
So true.
And so, a crossover film from the Alien and Predator franchises, billed as a science fiction action horror, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, starring Sanaa Lathan, Raoul Bova, Lance Henriksen, Ewan Bremner, Colin Salmon, Tony Flanagan, and of course, many aliens and 3 predators, 3 in some.
Literally no one I know. Like, I know nobody in that list of names that you just read off.
I'll come back to Colin Salmon in a second, and Lance Henriksen. I have things.
And Raoul Bova's in. You probably would recognize him in Under the Tuscan Sun, Christy.
Oh, okay. That is a movie I have seen. So yes.
Yeah.
No surprise on that one.
So we'll start with the picker, I guess. So Eli, we know the answer already, but do you dig this movie?
I dig this movie so much. It's so campy and silly, and the effects are so gross, and it's such a weird, bizarre mashup of things. It's like they're in an Arctic exploration, but there's also a pyramid, and it's weird ancient aliens, but it's also alien. And and like the main character is a badass woman who gets to, fight aliens and predators. And I think it doesn't quite get the hype that it should. And it just delights me every time I watch it.
What was your first time watching it? Or like your pick for the list was Aliens, so like, yes. I know you've been a fan of the franchise for a long time.
Yes, so I love Alien and Aliens. I think those are 2 of some of my like very favorite movies. They are very different, but still capture a lot of fantastic horror and funky sci-fi and feminine rage, which are all things that I enjoy. And so I hadn't seen AVP until like a little ways into the pandemic. Nick and I were trying to we would watch movies to like fill out franchises for like things that we hadn't seen. Mm-hmm. So I had never seen any of the Alien versus Predator, and I hadn't seen some of the later Predator ones or even some of the later Alien ones. And so we filled out the entire franchise and the crossovers. And I remember being like, what is this movie? Why have I never seen this before? This was so much fun.
And are you a Predator fan too, or is that a sort of lesser order thing?
I enjoy Predator. It's fun. It's campier, I think, than my love for Aliens. But that's just what it is. I have enjoyed some of the Predator installments, I guess, more than the original. I think Prey was actually a really fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, maybe that's the one I like the most. That and the first one.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that they take so many different takes of this idea. Like the first one is so very jungle based. The second one is very like urban jungle based. It's like gritty and dark and concrete. And then Predators, like you go in a completely different direction. So I appreciate that they take a lot of wild swings.
Never mind. Because I'm wondering like how much of like I guess I'm gonna kick it over to Christy, who I know is coming at this from a complete neophyte perspective.
Fresh eyes as usual for anything. It seems like, okay. Again, it is on the one hand, it is a lot of the nonsense we've seen in like Stargate. Arguably even the pyramid. Like I think the pyramid borrowed a shot from this movie. We'll get to it later. And Atlantis, but different. There's another one
maybe it's just because we just talked about it, but I was even getting slight like Lost City of Zed vibes because there's like an expedition component to it.
Yeah.
There is there is an Ancient Aliens component too, but like there's a bit of Laura Croftiness.
Yeah.
This is the most 2004-iest movie we've ever seen.
It really is.
It's so true.
It's just all blending together at this point, and all I know, like, I'm just tired of the Von Daniken references that we keep coming back to, and it's always a pyramid. And like, there's the scene of like
three different hieroglyphs.
Yeah, Cambodia and Aztec and Egyptian,
and he's just reading it like in perfect English, right?
Yeah, and it's like, and this is like Pyramid Prime of the oldest, most ancient civilization. I'm like, not again.
My favorite thing about that premise too is it's like, okay, so there's this conceit in the movie that the pyramid, which listeners will explain in just a second, has elements from all three major pyramid cultures, Aztec, Cambodia, Egypt, and that like all three design and culture aesthetics are converging into one. But that also sort of like, it meant that like each culture gets like one dimension of, if this is like the Ur culture, like everybody gets like one aspect of this culture that they get to take back.
Yeah.
It's like they're splitting the house in the divorce or something like that, where it's like you get the car, but you get the dog.
Yeah.
So with the exception of like one archaeology scene, which I giggled at, I did not care for whatever was representative of the archaeology. However, this is a very interesting film in a study of gender. And yeah, I agree with Lige also. It's like Lex is a fun character, a fun female character to follow. And I'm sure we'll unpack her a bit more as kind of the ultimate last girl in this series. So, but I saw gender in a lot of other aspects too that I think it's going to be interesting to discuss. And I know Colin has been listening to like all the other podcasts about this movie. So I'm curious if other people have brought up these points at all. So I will leave it there for now in terms of like, I'm really tired of these archaeology films of this whatever oeuvre you might say, but like at least this one had something interesting to say about gender, I think. So I'm excited to unpack that part of it.
Yeah. It's very anthropological, actually, if you think
about it. Yeah. All right, Colin. Lay it on us.
So I decided as we were talking before the episode that I am adhering to the stance that this is the greatest film ever made, and cinema peaked in 2004 with this film. I will take no further questions. That's just the line I'm taking. So it's funny. I have so many questions for you, Christy, as a complete sort of like the fresh eyes, because my approach to this movie has been very meta literary, where there's like two scenes which to my mind like perfectly encapsulate this film, which is there's one that is right when the predators come down to the town and they kill a bunch of kind of armed goons. And then one guy kind of gets away and he's lying sort of in the snow, and he's like kind of a frozen, almost like Jack Nicholson in The Shining, frozen over. And two predators walk by him and they seemingly don't see him. And then he turns around and the third predator gets him right there, which is, if you're familiar with the Predator franchise, a callback to a key plot point in the first Predator movie is that the predator sees through heat And then Arnold, and escaping the predator, ends up in a river and covered in mud. And he's lying on the banks of the river and realizes that the predator can't see him. And it's like a very important narrative plot point that makes the movie go forward. And then the other scene is the one where Lance Reddick is like, the predator catches up to him and picks him up and like X-ray visions his chest and sees that he has lung cancer and puts him back down. And then when the predator turns his back, Lance Reddick turns his asthma inhaler into a flamethrower and then gets killed by the predator, which is a callback to Predator 2, where there's a scene in that movie where the predator is killing a bunch of people on a subway and X-ray visions this one woman and sees that she's pregnant and then leaves her be, and which is a sort of thematically kind of important scene because it's all about the way the predators sort of operate and their like code of ethics.
Yeah.
So both of these scenes are like reference callbacks to the older movies. They clearly were inspired thinking about that prior movie. They're a visual, but the other problem is in both of those scenes, the person is immediately killed by the predator following that action, which kind of renders the scene pointless. And which is like, to me, the perfect sort of like thesis on this film that is like visually borrowing a thing from prior installments, but only for the sake of visually like it's purely the visual reminder, but not exploring the implications for like the plot or the ideas or the characters or the scene. It's just there. And it's completely undone by just getting murked by a predator right away. That being said, this is still the greatest film ever made in cinema, peaked in 2004.
Well, and Colin,
I have something to that, Colin, I think.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Because I took those kind of two things as more that like predators don't kill unarmed people usually. Like you have to have a weapon or be threatening in some way, and that they have just like walked by people with no weapons before. And so when he put what's his face down, because he was like, oh, you are ill, I'm not killing you, there is no honor in this. But when he's flamethrowering him, he's being an active threat, and he's like, okay, yep, now I'm gonna kill you.
Yes.
So I can kind of see that as actually working in the thematic. I don't know.
The first one, I think, is more problematic because, like, again, he's mostly just frozen there.
Yeah, he's just there.
Yeah, but also it sets up like the predators are supposed to not be able to see him, but they clearly can see him. So it's like, and then part of it, it feels like it's the movie being like a subversion. And there are cases where the subversion thing works. Like there's the scene with Ewan Bremner where he's in the like the nest and there's an egg hatching and he's reaching for the gun and he gets it at the last second, but then like 20 more eggs hatch and he's like, oh no. And like, that's kind of a fun scene, but
yeah. I was just going to say, like, you guys talking about those scenes, I did want to highlight because no, I've never seen any of the films or played the video games or read the comics because, like, this is a vast franchise, two franchises altogether. But I will say it's definitely, I'm very culturally aware of it, same as Indiana Jones. Before I saw Indiana Jones, I still got what people meant. It was like, I'm going to go punch a Nazi today. Like, there's so many references that come from these that I was very much aware of a lot of the premises. I think one of the other callbacks, and correct me if I'm wrong, I thought it was from Predator, is when Lex is firing off a gun and right before she does, she says, "You're one ugly motherfucker."
Yes.
And
that's Predator.
That is Predator. Okay. I know that line from the like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think is it Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, it's Arnold. It's like, you're one ugly son of a, and then it like blows up or whatever.
Yeah. So like these have been around for so long, and they're memeable, right? So it's like I have awareness of a lot of what's going on. I know that everyone absolutely loves Sigourney Weaver in Alien, and I probably should see that one. But again, I don't watch movies before the 80s unless we're covering it, apparently. So here we are. So yeah, I did want to highlight that's like, I've been aware of the stuff, just never delved into it.
Both of these films or both of these franchises are really cases where it's like, even if you actually haven't seen it, its cultural osmosis is so strong that you can almost trick yourself into thinking you've seen it, right? Where it's like, you can be like, yeah, like Alien, I get it. I know the premise, right?
Yeah.
And then it's very much like this, because it's been copied and mimicked and referenced so much. Predator to a lesser extent, but I mean, well, yes and no. Like Predator vision is like a whole thing, right?
Yeah.
When you see people through the heat map.
And the xenomorph in the chest blah, blah, blah thing. Like
chest
all
boosters,
of that.
yes.
Yeah. It's like, I'm aware of all of that, very much so. So like, didn't Elijah, you dressed up as a xenomorph?
Yeah, I
like,
was a xenomorph for Halloween this past year.
Yeah. So like, I've been around it.
Well, yeah, but like I appreciated kind of the ways that they use those thematic elements from both franchises, kind of mashing them together. Like you're not sure if like the weird clicky noise is a predator or is it the alien weird clicky noise.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one scene with the penguin and you kind of hear something like flapping around. It's like that's the little face hugger sound. That's what you kind of think is gonna come out. That's just a penguin. Or like the acid for blood and how they use that in a couple different ways and how it even like becomes part of Predator's whole like ritualistic killing thing.
Yeah.
But there were certain parts where like it seemed like the acid blood only affected certain Predator weapons. Like there's like, you're right, there's a lot of scenes where the acid blood like comes into play, but then there's another part where she like stabs it with a spear and then he takes the spear out and it's like, whatever, fine.
I know, it's fine. I know. I mean, that's also been very convenient in alien movies, how much acid blood actually eats through.
This is, there's a good Robot Chicken kind of about this where an alien gets like a small cut and then it just like falls through like 20 layers of spaceship floor because the floor just keeps melting out from under it.
All right. So before we get too much further, does anyone want to throw a plot summary out of what this particular movie is?
Do we want to look at the plot summary provided, or do we want to try to do it sort of off the...
up to you. I provided 2 in our semi-script just to help formulate thoughts.
2?
Yeah. Well, IMDb is very short. Yeah. And then I liked Rotten Tomatoes. I thought theirs was decent.
So also that the fact that this begins with like a giant corporation, Wayland Industries, right? And we have
I want to talk about Wayland. Yes.
The head of Wayland Industries is sort of like how this everything kicks off. Very alien to have just like a giant corporate.
Well, it's
entity.
literally
with a satellite who's worried about other men with satellites.
Because like there's a reason the first person they cast in this film was Lance Henriksen, because in Aliens he plays Bishop, who's an android, and then in Alien 3 you find out that android may be just a copy of the founder of the main company in Alien Weyland-Yutani, and the guy he shows up at the end of Alien 3 and it's unclear whether or not like is he just another android, is this the actual company founder, and the idea is that this Wayland is the like original
OG Wayland.
And then in the sequel there's a post-credit scene where you meet the Yutani part of Weyland-Yutani. But I wanted I'd start, I'll do a quick summary, but we can start with Wayland, where the basic premise of the film is a satellite discovers a subglacial, I guess, structure in Antarctica that is exposed, and the billionaire Bishop Wayland, Charles Bishop Wayland, launches an expedition featuring Arctic explorers and scientists and military people and archaeologists to go explore this pyramid that combines elements from all 3 cultures. I'm just going to leave it at that. All 3 cultures, which apparently is Aztec, Egyptian, and Cambodian.
Yep, the only 3.
and it turns out that the pyramid structure is basically a hunting ground designed by the alien species from Predator, where they kind of farmed the alien xenomorphs from Alien, and humans come, and the humans would be the sacrifices to the alien to generate alien monsters that the Predators would come down to hunt for their rite of passage so they could become adults, which is another thing that I recently kind of realized, or was pointed out to me, that this film is basically children versus teenagers, where all of the aliens are newborns and the Predators are effectively like Predator teens. Like they're on their like mission trip or something. Like this is their like high school.
The rite of passage. It's literally a rite of passage.
Yes.
See how anthropological this is?
And so the humans go down, they activate the alien. So the alien queen starts, basically like pooping out eggs. People get turned into aliens and sliced up by predators. The predators fight the aliens, and eventually the final character, Alexa Woods, played by Sanaa Lathan, joins forces with the last surviving predator to defeat the alien queen and complete the ritual hunt.
Whose name is Scar. That's
yes.
what he's referred to as.
Scar, Celtic, and Chopper, I think, is the predators all have names.
Yep. And then there's one alien with the name Grid because it gets the like grid slash marks on its.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, you would only know if you like bought the toys.
Sure.
I forgot this is still an era where like people are making action figures for action.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's like this movie, because this movie, like the genesis of this movie, I mean, I joke like this is the most 2004-iest movie because like the prior year we got Freddy versus Jason. And then this is like, there was a brief window where it was like, is this just the future of movies where we're just kind of smashed together popular IP franchises in a versus format? And the answer was no, or maybe yes.
Well, I don't know. Was there a Godzilla versus someone at that point too? Because that's kind of what feels like. I don't know.
That at least like that goes back to like the 70s. Although granted, does this. Like the idea of aliens and predators together. In Predator 2, there's a brief shot where you get to see the inside of the Predator ship, and on his ship he has like a wall of skulls. And just as a little Easter egg, one of the skulls is a xenomorph skull. And that's kind of the genesis of the idea. And I think there was a comic from like the 80s. Then it eventually became this.
Oh. So can we talk about the one archaeology scene I actually did appreciate?
With the Pepsi cap?
Yes.
Yep, exactly. It's like, oh boy, we're digging. And here comes a Pepsi Cola bottle cap. And then it becomes like a little charm. It's like, dude, archaeologists totally do that. Like,
I know.
Has no
so
archaeological
true.
significance, will not get you arrested at the airport for carrying. So you keep it just for the memory. And but I will say that scene, Colin, I was giving so many flashbacks to the pyramid of when they like opened the pyramid. I was just waiting for Notch's gas to like explode out as he was like opening the hole, because that was visually very similar to the movie we just released and covered. So
yeah, I mean, I think very much the pyramid 2014 pyramid we just watched is this in a sort of like lamer way, but
not because it's not aliens.
Yes.
It's an Egyptian god for realsies. I never got to finish explaining the plot to you, Lai.
I don't.
Just listen to our episode. I don't know if it makes any sense.
I'm just gonna go listen to the episode because I can't. But this was Raoul Bova as this archaeologist who is Marcello in Under the Tuscan Sun. He was a very fun archaeologist.
Speaking of the penguins, it was funny today because I watched it today when, this will date the episode a little bit, the tariffs on the Antarctic islands that are only inhabited by penguins. And then her just being there like, me, I'm partial to the penguins. I'm like, I too am partial to the penguins.
Okay, let's actually talk about Alexa Woods, or Lex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, first of all, I love the conceit in movies where the main character has a job where you're like, is that a job? Is that a real thing? Like she has, because like, what is she? She's a
guide. I would say mountaineering guide that specializes in ice expeditions in particular. So,
so yeah, she's like the person when like a millionaire wants to climb Mount Everest or like go to the South Pole or something like that. She like takes them out, which I guess is a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, someone has to do it, right?
Yeah, it feels like it's like a very niche world, right? But
yeah, it's kind of like the same as like spelunking. Like there are people that just specialize in that type of expedition because it's very dangerous and all of that. So yeah, there are people who do it.
But she very much kind of feels like in some ways like the spiritual successor, or I guess predecessor of Ripley, because her recurrent beats in the first like 30 to 40 minutes of this film is like, we're not properly prepared. This is, I'm not going to do it unless we like take the necessary precautions, like 3 weeks of training and like X and Y and Z and things like that. Where in the sense of like Ripley in the first Alien movie, who basically just like cites protocol, cites the reasons, and then they don't listen to her and everybody dies.
Yep.
There's something, so going a little bit into the gender, and trust me, we'll deep dive into it more. Also, like a lot of her motivations is always for the good of the group. Like it's something that is not focused on, you know, getting her name out like Wayland, because Wayland is obsessed with being remembered. We'll talk about Wayland too, but I thought the best line of that movie in some regards was the self-awareness of the billionaire when he says, "What happens when I die? Stocks go down 10%. You're like, oh, you know.
Yeah, you know.
It's like, oh, a self-aware billionaire. Who knew?
Yeah.
We weren't, 2004 was a different era for our attitudes towards the super wealthy.
True.
Yeah. So you've got Wayland, you have the weird chemical engineer guy who is obsessed with his family, which again, you would think is like kind of a plot shield of some kinds, or a character.
Oh, opposite. Shield. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
Show a picture of your kids is like a death sentence.
Yeah. I loved the digital camera too. I'm like, oh God, I had a camera just like that.
I know.
One for the National Geographic. And I'm like, oh, honey, they're not taking that digital photo.
No. Also, immediately goes off alone.
Yeah.
You're screaming at him from the beginning. It's like you're not listening to the person who's trying to save your life. Why are you going off alone immediately?
It is funny. It's the chemical engineer, the STEM person doing that.
I know.
Well, this, in many ways, not to invoke maybe one of my least favorite movies is Prometheus, which is ironically kind of borrowing a lot of or mirroring a lot of plot points for this, because like also the sort of little bit of backstory is Ridley Scott and James Cameron were both sort of approached about this film, and Ridley Scott was like, "F you, no," and then James Cameron was like, "I don't know, maybe, not so much," and then, so they made it anyways, and Ridley Scott was like, "F this bullshit," but then later goes and makes Prometheus, which has a lot of the same ideas in it, but Prometheus is a bad film, and this is the best film.
Of course.
Accurate.
We have an axe to grind with Ridley Scott, apparently, so.
I love him. I love his cantankerousness, like, gives me joy. But
fair enough. I think that's the way he plans to go down. So.
He has made, I think, some of my most and least favorite films. Like there's you have the like Alien, Thelma and Louise, Gladiator 1, but then you also have Prometheus, Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
Robin Hood smack dab in the middle, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. I forgot about that one.
And I think what really highlighted for me, like, who Lex is as a character is that conversation she has, very kind of intimate conversation with Wayland about the death of her father. And, like, that's what I like about her, is that she truly does view everyone as part of her team, regardless of, like, their background or their role. And the conversation is about how they're climbing Mount Rainier, and her father breaks his leg about 700 feet from the summit, but he refuses to go down the mountain to get treatment, and has a glass of champagne once they reach the summit. And then as they make their way back down, he gets a blood clot, goes to his lungs, suffers for 4 hours, and dies just short of getting to base camp. And Wayland's conclusion is, I bet you what he remembers is not the pain, but that glass of champagne with you at the top of the mountain. And I'm like, and this is why men suck sometimes. I'm sorry, Colin, because that is not the correct conclusion from that story.
Right? I didn't tell you this story so you could find a silver lining in it. I told you this story so you would stop being stupid.
But like in the text of the film, she almost seems convinced by it, right?
Yeah, that's what's really annoying. Like she like rethinks things, but like at the end of the day, it's like, okay, she just told this story, obviously very traumatized by the entire experience, because I think she would have rather skip out on that glass of champagne and have her dad survive. And like that's not even acknowledged. It's just more of like, but what did your father think in his final moments? And isn't that better for him? He's dead.
There's a couple of points where this film like verges on the cusp of, I'm not sure I want to say subtle, but it verges on the cusp of like maybe like deft use of visual storytelling or like an awareness of this kind of gender dynamic, like when they're prepping. And oh my God, what's the actor's name? He's in Gladiators, the Irish guy with the scar on his face.
Yeah.
Tommy Flanagan. And she's talking with Tommy Flanagan, and she's like, are you listening? Like there's that little bit, there's a bunch of like, I guess what I would call like microaggressions against her, and like the Colin Salmon character where she's like, we're gonna leave, and he's like, yeah, whatever. And then she has to get Waylon and be like, we're going to leave. And he's like, okay. And then like these kind of, and you can kind of tell where she's like probably used to dealing with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's this whole energy of like, sure, whatever, lady.
Yes.
Yeah. And even like when she has to persuade, it's like, hey, the better option here is to work with one of the groups. And the archaeologist guy is still like, nah, it's team us against all of them. And she's like, well, that's stupid because we're not going to survive that scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. She was the only one who was willing to actually like work together to have any sort of collaborative survival strategy.
Yeah. And at the end, it's like she's not any less masculine coded for it either, because she fights, she survives, and is recognized as a warrior by the rest of the predators at the end of the film. So it's still very okay. This is what brings me into the broader gender premise I see, because we've touched on it a little bit. The aliens are representative of the feminine, forced birth of the queen. Everything is slimy and moist from the alien side, and the predators are like hyper masculine, violent, going through a rite of passage that involves hunting, right?
Yeah. They're in like a space frat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was one other. Oh, the fact that their blood is acidic is also like very Western medicine of like women's blood is terrifying and is literally corrosive.
Yes.
And I just kept like seeing that everywhere. I'm like, this is literally a movie about masculine versus feminine, and the feminine loses overall, but our female heroine wins overall. And it's a weird message.
This is like Maria Gimbutas, like matristic pre-civilization cultures being conquered by like civilization male martial cultures. Like I don't that, which is why you need to see Aliens, because Aliens is the feminist readings of Aliens, where it's like Ripley versus the Alien Queen is, I think. A lot. There's a lot to say about
so much. Yeah.
Because that is like feminine versus feminine in some ways.
Okay. Well, and just trying to like place that in early 2000s again is like, God, what a weird time.
Jackass is, I want to say, like kind of, crushing the box office.
Yeah. Well, and like at the end of the day, like it's supposed to feel empowering, but I will say like for me, one of the most disturbing moments was seeing the chained queen alien being forced to give birth for the entertainment of men, of male predators, or whatever it is that they represent. And I'm like, oh God, I hate this so much.
Yeah, it's so gross. And I think I didn't see such a stark like gender difference as you did, but I think that really works. And I also wonder what it says about the xenomorphs, that they are also like the least human. Like they are predators are humanoid, humanistic.
They're literally called humanoid by Lex.
Yeah. They have language, they have ritual, they have culture, they have numbers, they have technology, blah blah blah. Xenomorphs are like
hands.
Yeah, they wear fishnets, etc.
Yes, they have great dreads.
Dreads. But like xenomorphs are bugs. They are portrayed as this like mindless, hungry, killing.
They're hive-mindy.
Right.
They have a queen and like a colony.
Yeah.
Which again, okay, I'm still stretching for some classical reception here. If you go back to whatever guy's name who's like, what type of woman's the best? Isn't it Hesiod? Like the best type of woman is a bee.
Oh, Simonides. Yes. Okay. The different types of wife and the animal, dog wife, horse wife, monkey wife, fox wife, and they're all different kinds of bad. And then the bee wife, who's diligent and hardworking and asks for nothing and is complicit in her own, subjugation.
Yeah. It also gives like the sense that like xenomorphs are inherently dangerous, right? Like because they're literally just burst from the chest within 30 minutes, as far as I can tell from the screen time here.
It's unclear how long.
Yeah, it takes however much time it needs to take.
However much time. I should have been counting how often the pyramid was shifting. I would have gotten it perfect. Anyway, so like their danger is just inherent, like it's born into them, versus predators, again, going to this idea of how we talk and think about civilizations. It's like, it's something they've developed as a skill over time and then have to like prove themselves of having accomplished. Their lethalness is something that must be learned and honed and trained, versus the lethalness
it's education based and
of the
it's institutionalized. And a lot, I think part of this goes back to like the original design of Alien, which I think is very like, for lack of a better word, like yonic in some ways. And like a key tenet of body horror is like things like, basically body horror kind of comes down to like holes where holes shouldn't be.
Yep.
And like things going in and things coming out where they shouldn't be. So like any body horror involving like something going into an orifice that you don't want it to, or something coming out where there isn't an orifice. And Alien is that to a T. And then that's, and then in Aliens, that's when because in the first Alien movie, there's just the one alien. There's one egg, one alien, and that's kind of it. But then in Aliens, that's where you get the queen and the hive and the community. But in that movie, there's also this story of like Ripley and Newt, where there's sort of a mother-daughter kind of, there's like basically, it's like two types or two versions of motherhood kind of duking, like literally duking it out in the last scene. And then men are also lurking in them. And there's also to kind of bring back to Wayland, I'm like gesturing wildly because I'm getting like really excited about this. I love it. I've had a very long day and I'm kind of at the end of my tether, so I'm a little loopy, but
that's why it's fun to talk about a movie that is fun. I will say it's fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So like one of my notes was that Wayland in this film is like weirdly chill for a billionaire. He's like kind of nice and he seems like pretty reasonable and like he just wants to, explore a colony.
Isn't it sad that like we have enough real life reference to be like, oh, this billionaire is kind of chill in comparison?
He seems fine. He's kind of down to earth. He just wants to make a lasting but like in the Alien franchise, Weyland-Yutani is like the evilest corporation because in both movies, one of the main plot points is like the company is actually okay if all of the workers die, if it means they might recover this asset because that could be incredibly valuable to the company. And like human life is expendable in the face of corporate profits, which it's just as funny that this movie takes the line. They're like, the original founder of Weyland-Yutani was actually a pretty nice dude.
But like in practice, he is also like pushing a team out there to try to get somewhere first, like to get to the pyramid first. Like is not super concerned about their well-being at a lot of points. And we kind of have a giant group of like red shirts that you kind of assume are all going to die, and literally one person walks out of there. And so I think it does kind of stay with that thematically, or at least like creates the beginnings of that. It's like these people don't necessarily matter as long as this guy gets here first. It's like safety is not as important. Human life is not as important.
Yeah. And that kind of brings me to, I think, what my frustration with this ancient alien trope has been in these films. Like, we've definitely already talked a lot about why it's problematic archaeologically and historically and things like that. But like, what I take away from this movie is this idea of like, humans are weak. They are, what did I write? Humans are fragile, weak, soft, backwater, and they're looking for some kind of higher power to use them in ritual sacrifice. Like, it's so weird that this whole premise of trying to find like an ancient civilization older than all the others is to say that like we currently are not worthwhile.
Yeah.
The predators like don't give two shits about us. We're
zero.
we're like mice in a laboratory being used to like grow cancer cells for like study or something.
Versus Stargate, they're like, oh, humans have a use, and it like all of the humans eventually band together and be like, oh, we don't like this system, so we're going to overthrow it. Versus this is just like one lucky bitch survived. Huzzah. Good for her. Obviously, this is going to happen again.
And don't you love the wonderful like editorializing archaeology where they go into the sacrificial chamber and he's like, they went willingly. It was an honor. And it's like, dude, you walked into this room like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah. So that is okay. That's kind of a funny aside because they definitely talked about how this film was inspired by Aztec mythology. And there is evidence to suggest that certain human sacrifice in its Nahua culture, not Aztec. Aztec is, but anyway, everyone knows it as Aztec. But Nahua culture, there were certain situations, like for instances, people lived a year as a living god and then gave up their life. And in my class, we talk about, it's like, yeah, what do we actually mean when we think about the word sacrifice? It's like most of the time it means you're giving up something. And if we rephrase human sacrifice as like a soldier sacrificing something to save his platoon or something like that, we do view it as a very noble thing to do. And there's evidence that exists in Nahua culture, but also a lot of human sacrifices were captured war prisoners, and I don't think they all signed up for that. So,
or like you had, what is it, the Flower Wars, which is kind of like a weird ritualized kind of warfare that was just about going and gathering prisoners and sacrifices and stuff. But
yeah, and at the end of the day, definitely the priests have something to. There's like, oh yeah, we need more human hearts to keep the gods happy, to keep the elites happy, to keep our institutions running. But who knows how everyone else feels about that setup?
I'm going to posit an absolutely bug nuts theory that is coming to us again from the greatest film ever made by human hands.
Oh my God, I can't
wait. Which is that, so like this movie proposes that the predators basically like gifted civilization to humanity, but like to the extent that like the predators helped us build the city so they could come down and like use Antarctica as a playground to like hunt the deadliest game. Which is again insulting that I thought humans were the deadliest game, but whatever. But anyways, I'm following this line of thought that like human civilization, which is again a contiguous and cohesive and universal thing, that we're all just from this Earth civilization. Christy is like vomiting into the. But like if it's all derived from the predator culture. Like we are an offshoot of whatever predator culture is. And as we establish, the predator culture, so far as we can tell, is an incredibly hyper masculine, patriarchal, dare I say toxic masculinity. Then therefore human civilization inherited toxic masculinity from the predators.
Fabulous. Yep. You know what?
Yep.
It tracks.
And you know what? Our human minds might be completely wrong. Maybe the predators are in fact all biologically female.
True.
That's true.
We don't know, in all of the Predator movies, we don't really get to see a lot of what Predator culture, like we don't know what their home planet is like, or their home life, or like if they have families, if this species is monogender, or what's going on. It's like, for all we know, like this group of predators are like a bunch of wacky offshoot cliques from their like and like you go back to Predator home planet and everybody's like normal and nice, and these guys are just the like I don't know, these guys are the like Trump Juniors going on safari, and the rest of the predators are like, oh, we hate that guy.
Oh my gosh.
You know that guy with the big red cape and the giant dreads? Like, oh, he's like,
God, we hate him.
He's the Andrew Tate of Predator Planet.
Yes.
They show up on our planet and it's like, dude, what the hell is gender? What are you people on about?
I love that. Yeah, I will now think about Predator as genderless. I think that makes me
I think
happier.
That's a good way to think about it. Yeah, because like we don't see any, like, all we know bug-like how the aliens are made, and
oh yeah, we know very much how aliens
very
are
explicitly. yeah, and so it is. Again, there's this element of celibacy for the hyper masculine reading species of people.
Yeah,
they are sexless as far as we can tell. I mean, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Are predators drag? Like,
oh my God,
they wear a lot of fishnets.
Why are they wearing fishnets? This is just has always confounded me, but I love it.
Yeah.
Do you know about the original Predator design?
I think I've seen some of the drawings that they did.
Yeah. So in the original Predator 1987, I think it's the 87 movie by John McTiernan. In the original sort of pitch, the Predator monster was going to be played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. And the entire design of the monster was going to be based around like Van Damme's physicality, and that it was going to be like super fast and basically like kickboxing everybody. And so you can look up the earliest designs of the Predator monster, and that whole movie is just this like, it's one of these movies that it's like, it's a miracle that it came together that was ever finished, let alone like that it was like an actual, like a low key masterpiece. And so the whole like Predator design was like sort of a happy accident that then they ended up stumbling onto, and like the decision to give them those kind of like dreadlock tentacles, like the decision with like the mask, but then the mouth underneath, that's like the pincer mouth, everything about its design, that his blood was going to be like this neon green. So all of that like was sort of almost accidental, but then came together into like one of the most iconic monster designs ever. Anyways, I love Predator, and
I'm just looking at some of the pictures now. It's so much fun.
I was trying to wait. I have handwritten notes. So let's see. There was a prison metaphor that I didn't like. Oh, that's right. Lex.
I called this my new title for this movie is the Predator Industrial Complex.
Yeah, because like, what is it like? Lex kind of explains to convince archaeologist dude that like, hey, we need to side with the predators. She's like, oh, we've walked into a giant prison, and we took the guards' guns, and the prisoners have all like swarmed. So we need to give the guards their guns back. And I'm like, I hate this metaphor so much.
Right? It's like, I don't know.
I am not swayed by that argument.
I'm like, I don't know if that's exactly how we would. No, that doesn't work very well. It's better if you say we're trapped in a ritual temple with demons that are trying to eat us, and we should give the weapons back to the crazy creatures who are going to kill those demons.
Yeah. Or even just like, okay, like one of the interesting kind of fundamental divides about both of these monsters is that the xenomorph, as many characters in the Alien movies kind of pontificate on, is like the perfect organism killing machine. Like all it does is it kills, it reproduces, and then goes from there. Like it's this like, you get Ian Holm being like, it's the perfect biological specimen or something. Like it is like biology perfected. But it's mindless, it's pure instinct, it's all id, not to get too Freudian. But I feel like we should maybe, this is a very Freudian movie, so
yes.
Mothers and fathers loom very heavily in this film.
Sorry, my mind went to White Lotus season 3, which I called was going to be very Freudian, and oh boy, is it.
Yeah, and then whereas the Predator, I mean, at least the Predator, like one of the kind of fun things about the Predator movies, and the first one in particular, is that it so effectively sets up that like the Predator as a monster has like rules that it follows. Like it wants to hunt the biggest, most dangerous game, and so it only wants to kill you if you're armed, if you're going to fight back. Like it's all about the honor and the glory, but also it has a rationale and like can be reasoned with, and like understands the idea, like an alliance of convenience or strat. Like you can reason with the Predator and like be on the Predator's side, but like the Alien, you're just food for the hive.
Yeah.
I do like the scene where the Predator basically like kind of mimes what a bomb is
to
her.
And she figures it out real fast.
Yeah. Or when he like shows her that like the acid blood doesn't hurt the like weird helmet thing that she tore off the alien or the xenomorph. There's some like
surprisingly effective.
Yes, like visual storytelling.
Yeah, for again the greatest movie ever made.
So this was a comment I had made. Because
a feminist masterpiece, we might say.
yeah, of course, sure. I don't know. There's something there. There's something. I feel like we need someone who does queer studies to step in and read in deeper into this gender analysis.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
But I did want to comment. It's like, you know what? There's something I appreciate about the fact that I know it's dark, but I can see everything that is happening, and I feel like ever since that episode from Game of Thrones, I'm just like, why does everything have to be dark?
Well, no, it's so funny because if you have either of you seen the sequel to this, Aliens versus Predator Requiem? But
I have indeed.
Hulu tried to make me watch it. Like it quickly went to that next.
That movie was filmed in a tar pit. Like you can't see anything in that film. No. It is inscrutable. Whereas I actually complained in my notes about this film being too bright and weirdly lit, and it feels like it was made for DVD screens, which I think it kind of was. But
in 2004, yeah,
I think all the color correction. There's a director's cut you can watch where because this movie was PG-13, and then there was a strategy in the 2000s where they relied so heavily on DVD sales that when a movie came out, there would also be a X-rated cut or an R-rated cut with the DVD sales. And so they just went in and added in a bunch of CGI blood, but probably not with the idea of 4K screens and LEDs and things like that. Sure. So it just looks so bright and so cartoonish.
You know what? Between that and my subtitles, so I can hear what I'm seeing or whatever the joke is, I appreciated it. It was a good change of pace in some regards.
Well, and I liked it actually for all of the it's not gore exactly. It's just maybe some of it is gore because they cut the xenomorph in half and its guts spill out.
Oh yeah.
But all of the eggs when they open up, they have that slimy interior, and yeah, everything is gooey, Christy, as you
wet and spongy, just like the Greeks wanted them to be.
Just like the Greeks wanted them to be. But
I did look at that scene and be like, I could make slime like that. That's very doable.
There's a thing that with cornstarch and water, there's a way to make your homemade goo for Halloween decorations and stuff like that.
If you use cornstarch, that makes oobleck, which is a
non-Newtonian fluid.
Newtonian. Yep. Fun stuff. The things you learn working at a children's museum.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I like being able to see all of the very practical effects that they did use that were nasty and awesome.
I like that the monsters were guys in rubber suits.
Yeah.
Same.
And the alien queen, I think, is basically the same alien queen from Aliens, but just that's a very cool practical, that must have been so complex to build.
Oh God,
a puppet with 10,000 strings. But
it looks so cool though. It legit looked really cool. Yeah. And I think there's something to say because what the movie that came out that everyone is upset about is a Snow White live action with the CGI dwarfs.
Oh, I was like, where is this going?
No. So it's going to the uncanny valley, and that is horror that is unintentional. And I remember the first big computer generated thing was the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, right? That was such a big thing having that be made. And I'm like, I think we can go back to some practical effects, you guys, because it's just getting
It's weird. Funny you say that because another movie that came out this exact same year, kind of to your point, is Robert Zemeckis' Polar Express.
Yeah.
Which is very much we flew too close to the sun on that
very
one.
Much.
But,
and they still show it to children every year around Christmas time. I'm well aware of that fact.
Oh, boy.
Well, because so news-wise, what I'm hearing is for the Christopher Nolan Odyssey movie, they are going back to a puppet or something for Polyphemus in the cave. They're going back to more practical special effects, which I kind of appreciate at this point because I don't know, CGI with all of the AI stuff being produced, a video pulls up and all of a sudden I'm seeing weird chocolate turn into chocolate lab puppies and I don't like it. I don't want to see it.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that weirded me out.
Yeah. Just random reels on Facebook that are AI generated images that are people turn chocolate lab puppies into chocolate ice cream, and the morphs just you don't even know what you're looking at for a hot moment until your brain kind of processes it. Anyway,
I think the predator ship needs to visit this planet and do a culling.
Yes.
I think they let this civilization go on a little too long, and no one on Predator Planet has checked back in on us in long enough.
If it happened in 2004, we have unfortunately another 80 years.
I feel like we're like a petri dish that they forgot to check in on, or an aquarium, or let the tanks all green and scummy. Did
you not see that the Antarctic one went very poorly for the predators, and they had a little problem on their ship afterwards? We might be on our own, unfortunately. Us humans, we're just gonna have to figure it out at this point.
Okay, there's also no way that they would have let that happen. That's the end where the xenomorph comes out of the predator body is something that would not have happened. They all have X-ray vision. They would know. they would be able to see.
So the sequel movie starts with like that alien gets out, kills all the predators on the predator ship, and then it crashes in like Oregon or some shit, and then aliens are now on Earth.
Continues.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I thought I had remembered a scene of a face hugger getting the predator, and I'm like, that's probably gonna come back to bite someone later, and it did at the end of the movie. So good job not leaving strings. Man, I'm losing all my metaphors today. Anyway,
strings unburned,
something like that. That works. But yeah, the whole part, it's like, all right, like I thought maybe it's like, well, maybe it's intentional because like maybe they need a new queen that they need to plant somewhere, and so. But again, you wouldn't just leave them on a slab in the middle of the ship.
No.
The predators as like a culture are they're a funny and interesting kind of nexus of like hyper technology, incredibly advanced technology, like shoulder cannons, spaceships, cloaking stuff, but also like a very like primitivistic world.
It's Silicon Valley.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it is. It's like, what do toxic masculine bros in a frat think aliens would be like in so many ways?
In fishnets.
Everybody likes a fishnet. Come on.
Walking around the ship with their nipples out. Like,
you know what? I don't know a single fraternity that hasn't had a cross-dressing night at some point. So like, the fishnet's definitely come into play.
Fishnet Fridays.
Exactly. Fridays. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about predator culture beyond that, other than their entire society seems to revolve around safari.
Yeah. And I know that a sequel is indefinitely waylaid at this point. If we ever get, I know that they're still making video games. I think there was an Aliens video game that came out not too long ago, right?
But yeah, there was an Alien game that was pretty successful. Alien Romulus just came out this like past year.
Right. Yeah. Every time I typed Romulus, meaning like the season of television series we covered, it would add a xenomorph at the end. I'm like, no, that's not
that one.
Did they go to Rome? That could be fun.
No, it's just the ship is named the Romulus, I think.
No,
there was like a twin ship. It had Romulus and Remus sides of the ship.
I want to take this gendered reading of Aliens to ancient Rome now, because why not?
Well, aren't they doing a TV show? Isn't there like Aliens Earth?
I think the Romulus is like kind of a soft launch for this TV show, because like one of the things that the Alien franchise always butted up against but never really did was like aliens actually get to planet Earth, because it's always in like, except in the sequel to this film, Aliens versus Predator Requiem, everyone just kind of memory hold that movie.
Yeah,
because like in Alien 3, the like last scene is the spaceship kind of crashing towards Earth. Alien Romulus, I think it sort of ends with the idea that like, aliens are actually coming to Earth. And then the Predator franchise, like there's been talks about, because like kind of the problem, like none of the Predator sequels have like really cracked the code on it, because like the second one kind of took the idea, like you said, of like, okay, first one's jungle, what about urban jungle? And it's the early 90s, so like gang violence and LA riots is the thing. So like, what if the Predator hunted in LA?
Yeah.
Which is maybe an interesting premise that never quite got worked out.
Right.
But
yeah. Well, I was just thinking they both kind of represent a different like weird fear for humans or human civilization, like broadly speaking humans. Like one is if the aliens get on the planet, it's an infestation and they become the apex hunters, right? So we're all just food. Or maybe like you could even compare it to like a pandemic, a disease.
Definitely. Yeah.
Versus the predators much more represent a conquering group of people that you can be enslaved to. Like you can work with them, you can be subjugated by them, but you can still live. And which one's worse?
But even like the predators, like their whole thing is like they don't give a shit about that. Like they just want to hunt, and like it's all very isolated. Like they just want to find the thing that's most interesting to them to hunt. And that's just sort of the hardest part that the sequels until Prey, where it's like, what if we just put it in a different time and place? And it's like, what if the Predator hunted like Comanche warriors? And then like there's always been this rumor of like Predator in like medieval Japan, where it's like, what if the Predator fought samurai? And that's always like kind of like loomed around, but like never really materialized. But like Predator Rome, that would be a thing, right?
That would be so cool.
I think so. Well, I think that's why this idea of them as colonizers, because at the end of the day, you're still coming to Earth to exploit a certain kind of resource for your entertainment, right?
Sure.
And like,
sure.
look at what they had to build, and they had to create a human sacrifice ritual that people had to buy into and be a part of. Like, there's for the simple act of hunting, you still have to do a bit of colonizing work in order to make it happen the way you want it. Like, to have it be systematically every 100 years, we're going to have a rite of passage on this planet, and it's going to be perfectly set up for us by the time we get there. And like, oh no, the humans messed it up this time. Well, bummer.
Yeah, like there is a thing of like, like predator, like, so like Predators kind of gets at this, where like the thing that movie goes with is, rather than the predators coming to Earth, the predators like abduct a bunch of people from a bunch of different places. So there's like a bunch of like military types and like Yakuza and cartel and other like criminals. And they're all brought to basically a planet that's like a game preserve. And then the predators hunt them on their game preserve. And then that movie has like a little bit of like we're going to escape from like the safari that we're trapped in. Right. Or like the prisoners are going to kind of rebel, but it's a much more like, they're not interested in labor. It's not like Stargate. They're not interested in exploiting labor. They want to hunt us like we're lions.
So I wonder if it is then the fear of being treated like animals or less than human in both ways, though. Like the xenomorphs see us as just like food and incubators, and predators just like don't care about communication or our culture or like having any sort of conversation. They just want to like use us as fodder. And so, both of those situations, we as humans are like not top dog anymore, but in just two different terrifying ways.
The animal studies side of me is like pinging left and right, but like both are fears about like culture being a lie, or human supremacy being a lie, or humans as exceptional in XYZ way being a lie. Like we are just food for the hive, or we are trophy game for something else, which is underlying the sort of implicit fear that like maybe the way we structured our own society and life, like the fact that we have trophy hunting and factory farming and all this kind of stuff, like there's an implicit idea that we know what we're doing is wrong because our fears in horror movies revolve around that happening to us.
Yeah.
Which is my post-humanist screed that I'll stop now. But.
No. I still very much view, I think, mostly the predators at this point as like what we would say as an infestation and or like a pandemic, because like at the end of the day, it's like it's not the queen who set up that whole system to harvest humans in particular. That's just what happened to be around. Oh, and when the predators show up, they do it to the predators too. So there's...
the aliens are like a lab culture that got out of the CDC or something.
Yes. Which I think is interesting because like one is a more realistic scenario for all of humankind than the other. Like everyone has been involved in colonizing practices either as the dominator or the dominated, but pandemics don't discriminate on that same level. Like, sure, there's ways you can survive it if you have the proper weapons or preparedness, but
or I think
if it gets you, it gets you.
I think about the mushroom zombies. What is it? The cordyceps in Last of Us?
Yes.
Like, that's very also like indiscriminate sort of, at least in the beginning, right?
Yeah. Who knew horror was so much fun and I still hate it?
Horror is so much fun.
It's the philosophically richest genre. I don't know.
It really is.
It really is.
Like exploring.
Comedy maybe might also have a stake at that claim, but
that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. But doesn't satire just make fun of our fears? It laughs at our fears.
Yeah. I mean, theory of comedies, like, right? Is it?
Oh God, I don't know.
I know.
That back
like, it's too late. It's too late for
that. Oh man.
All right.
I think.
Well, sorry. Yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say I've hit all my notes, so like.
I only have one note that I have left, which is the single line that, again, from the greatest movie ever made by humankind,
of course,
and possibly the greatest work of art ever made. But there's one line that, for whatever reason, has stuck with me for 20 years since I saw this film, which is the line about guns and condoms. And I don't know why that, like...
And you're like, yup.
Which is, it serves like it's doing a couple of things, but number one is explaining, like, we also like, why does everybody has a gun? Like, why would you bring a gun to this situation? Yeah. But everybody's armed to the teeth. The guys even have like suitcases that turn into guns,
right?
Yeah.
For all the good it does them. Like, and also, I mean, again, 2004, we were obsessed with laser sights on rifles.
Definitely.
Just the imagery of like that laser sight shooting around.
Yep.
But Sana Lathan like goes to one of the people on the expedition. She's like, 20 years on the ice, I've never seen a gun save anyone's life. And to which she replies, it's like a condom. I'd rather have one and not need it than need it and not have it. Which I'm like, I don't know what to think about that.
I'm surprised that was the line that stuck with you and not the translation line of chose or chosen. Because I'm like, that also had
I do love a good translation dunking. And the fact that he's like, it's all here on the walls, this trilingual hieroglyphic story that I'm just going to read. Like it's like it's a script.
Yeah. I think my favorite part is still when they escape the pyramid sort of chamber by riding they take a sleigh ride of friendship out of the
the way they're propelled. No one survives that. Like, I was like, oh god, that was a moment of
so the funniest thing about this movie is like, okay, so at the end of the movie, Scar dies. The Predator ship, which I guess was there the whole time, just kind of observing this ritual. The Predator ship comes down. The chief Predator grants the ceremonial spear, and then they leave. And then, like, I guess she dies like 10 minutes after the end of this movie because she's alone in Antarctica.
I thought that too.
She has
there's a little vehicle,
thing,
right?
Yeah, there's like a vehicle.
There's
with
a vehicle
lights on.
she walks towards.
I don't know.
Does it have gas? Who knows?
It's kind of like the end of the. It's like the end of the Thing, but at least the point at the end of the Thing is like, okay, we maybe killed the Thing, and I guess we just freeze to death now.
Yeah. Well, because let's think for a minute. What does Lex do next if she does have a little vehicle to get back somewhere? What do you do?
They're on an island like in Antarctica, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you would have to explain where the billionaire went, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this
the fact that like
crew
30
of
people are dead.
Yeah. 30 people are dead. And there's this giant hole in the ground that does lead to a pyramid. Wait, no, not anymore. It's exploded. It's all gone.
That's true.
Yeah, because like this movie has a weird space in the lore of both franchises because like Predator is set in the 80s, so like that's fine. Predators, and also like just the nature of the Predator franchises, like they could be visiting Earth all the time and it wouldn't really change anything. Yeah, because they just come down and like kill a few guys. But like with aliens, like that happens in the future. So like when Alien 1 happens, like Ripley and co need to not know about aliens. So like whatever, if this is going to happen on Earth, it needs to be like contained. So like it's in Antarctica and like it gets buried or whatever. So like that keeps, but then the sequel blows this premise up.
Sequel really that up.
Yeah. Well, and it would also, it's like, as Wayland was very concerned, he's not the only billionaire with a satellite that could see this pyramid. And
right, he's like, we're not the only ones with satellites over Antarctica. I'm like, there are other people. It's like, is that a thing?
Apparently. So it's just like, at the very least, maybe someone else knows about the pyramid that showed up there. But yeah, like, I don't know what you do as Lex with the rest of your life.
No idea.
If you make it back to humanity.
No idea. Been wild.
Could you explain this gap in your resume?
No, I cannot. Trauma. That's the gap.
Yeah. That really messed up her record, right? Like her whole team is gone.
Yep.
Added a few more hours on the ice, though, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, geez.
Ice time.
And that she has an alien weapon now, but...
Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm tired.
Yeah. But I think, Elijah, excellent choice for our first.
AVP is so fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's fun to talk about. It was a little redundant to watch, but
that's best movie ever made.
Colin, I'm glad that you are so delighted.
Mm-hmm.
The irony is like all bits aside, in a weird way, even though I recognize that Prometheus is like a superior film in terms of like every like metric of like craft, technicality, like acting, like all that stuff, I far prefer this movie to Prometheus.
Same.
Prometheus is a movie that makes me Prometheus makes me like this movie is kind of like embraces the like this is your little piggy slop, eat it up, you dumb like,
yes. Absolutely.
This is still back in a day when movies didn't have to be works of art in order to be enjoyable. And you could still make money. It didn't have to be like a blockbuster top of box office winner, right? Like you didn't have to make the #1 slot in the weekend.
That said, I do think Aliens, and Predator 1 are works of art. But
true.
To each their own.
A funny thing, the Alien franchise is a lot more like high class than the Predator franchise in a way.
I see what you mean by that, but
it's a little more highbrow, a little more like intellectual, it's got two, I mean, just if you look at like, it's Ridley Scott and James Cameron, who are both Academy Award winner, like, minted Hollywood director gold. And the Predator side, it's like, you got John McTiernan. I could not tell you who directed Predator 2 or any of the other, Shane Black, I think, did Predators, but that's like the worst one. But I don't know. There's something a little bit. There is almost like a class divide when it comes to Alien and the Predator franchise, where it's like Alien is for the sophisticants, and Predator is for the masses.
Aliens brings the feminine energy, and Predator brings the masculine energy. Take your
Alien
pick.
Brings highbrow philosophy, ruminating, anti-capitalist. Like not even homoerotic, like clone erotic flute playing scenes, but go watch Alien Covenant if you want to know what I'm talking about. Where you can watch Michael Fassbender have a sort of scene against himself playing the flute, where one of the lines is "I'll do the fingering," but
I'm trying to block that out. And it's just not working. It's just still there.
A larger like meditation on like creator and createe, and like what responsibility creators have to their creations, rebelling against your creator. It's Pinocchio gone rogue. Anyways.
Yeah, no, I like when the xenomorphs are much less explained, I think, which is why Prometheus and Covenant, along with some other things, I don't like their weird, let's get super detailed into this lore.
No, I completely agree. Like the alien is more interesting to me if it's just this like random species that we encountered in space versus like our creators created a thing that our creation created.
Yeah, no. It's much more terrifying, much more like a force of nature, or this thing that we don't fully understand. It's a virus,
right?
Yes,
it's virology, right? Where like the alien, the logic of the alien species is that of a virus, or maybe a tarantula, hawk, wasp. But
I think overall it's like the premise worked in this movie, right? Like the two greatest fears of civilization: colonization or pandemic. Mm-hmm. And humans are just caught in the middle, and they're trying to choose the lesser bad option.
Of two evils.
We are like one of those poultry farms with an outbreak of avian flu.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so depressing.
Yeah. Way to bring it back down, Colin.
I know.
No.
All right. What are we watching next? What are we looking forward to?
Yeah, Colin, what are we watching next?
Great question. I think tentatively I've been going, well, because like
you now are restricted to the list, or at least a close offshoot of the list.
Okay, because the two we can hash this out and maybe edit it down if we need to. But if you want to hash it out on mic, because the two things that I'm tempted to make everyone watch, one may be my favorite movie of all time, which is Galaxy Quest.
I've seen that one.
The best Star Trek movie ever. And also Last of the Mohicans, which is just my like hometown pride coming through of like, I have half a mind to just go, if we record for that, of like going to Fort William Henry or Fort Ticonderoga and being like, I am here live from sight. The frontier of the French Indian War.
Actually, I think in the vein of lightheartedness, based on what my pick is, I might actually lean towards Galaxy Quest, because I have seen that one, but it's been a hot minute since I've seen it.
Same.
I'm down to talk out. I mean, Star Trek is archaeological. There are archaeologists in Star Trek.
True.
Mm-hmm.
And linguists and other kinds of science. It is a scientific enterprise nominally, but
yeah.
Galaxy Quest is the one with Tim Allen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Not going crazy. I remember correctly. All right.
Got it.
Yeah. I think Galaxy Quest, I think, might be a sort of interesting conversation on like fandom and fan culture and pop culture, because that's what it really is. And also screenwriting, because whoever wrote this episode should die. But
so Colin has strong opinions. Again, I have not seen it forever.
Can't wait.
So I think that would be
Are you
fun.
a Star Trek person by any chance?
Nope.
I might throw some Star Trek episodes your way.
Great.
And share my Paramount Plus account.
I have seen the Star Trek movies, the like more recent ones.
Sure.
Yeah, that counts.
Okay. All right, who's closing us out? Get us out of here.
I'll close this out, and I should probably edit this one because there's a lot of fat that needs to be trimmed, maybe on this episode.
I think you are supposed to edit this one because I'm doing the Camus Chaos one. So,
all right. Special thanks to all you listeners. We could not produce episodes like this without your support. That being said, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe if you like what you hear. You can find all of our episodes at movieswedig.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to know more about our upcoming plans and episode releases, be sure to follow us on social media, where you can find us under the handle of some variation of Movies We Dig on most platforms. Talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.